Thanks for joining me for my presentation. This is about Ford's Triangle of Death, also known as the Stop Safely Now alert. This primarily affects Ford hybrids and electric vehicles. My duty is to inform Ford owners and people who are considering buying these vehicles from Ford about my experience with it, and I am not alone in this. This is the vehicle I bought, a beautiful 2013 Ford Fusion Hybrid SE. My intention was to buy a truck. I've always wanted an F-150, but because of my commute, I opted for the hybrid. What scares me is there's thousands of these vehicles on the road. The people who are driving these vehicles might not even know about the Triangle of Death and how to react to it. Because if you don't know how to react to it, what the consequences are, the consequences could be fatal. So people who do own these vehicles know about the vehicle health report, which you can run periodically. Now, before you go on a trip, that's usually when I would do it. And I've ran 12 of these vehicle reports. And when you do this, it shows a number of different situations. But for me, and what matters in this video, is that I ran 12 of these vehicle reports. It showed okay for engine, transmission, and emissions. But even with that, I got these two alerts on the last trip that I took in my Ford. The engine cooler over temperature, which nearly froze to death. So this is what should alarm you here, is that Ford knows about it. The National Highway Transportation and Safety Administration knows about it, but there have been no recalls on this. So the mechanism of this alert, once it pops up on your dashboard, you have 30 to 45 seconds to get off the road or out of traffic. If you don't, well, regardless of what happens, the car disables the accelerator. The car can continue to run, can continue to stay in motion, but you can stomp on that gas pedal just like this. This is what happened to me, and it's happened to other people, but no one knows about it. It's not published anywhere. Ford hasn't done any recalls on it. And this is the kind of thing that can happen. You need to be aware of it when your gas pedal dies on the highway. So here, quickly, is what happened to me. In early March, I took my Ford Fusion Hybrid up to Virginia. North Carolina, I got the Triangle of Death. Pulled over, car wouldn't start anymore. Temperature dropped to 28 degrees. I couldn't get any help. Almost froze to death. Luckily, someone drove 6 hours out of the way to help me. And if they didn't rescue me, I'd be a Mike-sicle in my car the morning of Sunday, March 5th. So the next day, after getting rescued, I had to rent a car to go back to North Carolina to get my Ford. Had to get a hotel room, and then got the car towed to Advantage Ford. And that's when this whole odyssey started. The thing that I was thinking was maybe I'll just get this repaired and take it on home. But I was wrong. Because this is what I was thinking, get the car repaired. But what happens with the triangle of death, and this is based on my research after this has happened, it could be the electronic throttle body, which seems to be what normally happens, and that's still an expensive repair. Could be hybrid component over temperature, which, based on my research, has caused fires in hybrids and electrics. Or this is the biggie, the CVT transmission. This is what Advantage Ford diagnosed has the problem with my vehicle. Now, I also contacted AutoNation Ford in Union City, Georgia, explained the situation with them, and they thought it was electronic throttle body. But I'm not a mechanic, so I had to look at other options. This was another option. Trade the Ford in on another vehicle. Yeah, good luck with that, because your car's broken down, transmission, doesn't work, the car's broken down. They're not going to give you anything for it. And if you think, well, I'm just going to go through it anyway, well, you're dealing with serious negative equity, and that's going to cost a ton of money. So far what I've had to deal with is having to get a hotel, pay for rental cars for the last 3 months. I'm sure I can get billed for towing the car to the North Carolina dealer, $1,300 to diagnose the transmission, $1,400 to put it back together so it could be transported back here, which it has not been. The shipping, I'm gonna have to pay for that. That's $500. Storage fees at the dealership in North Carolina. Then this is the biggie, $7,000 for the transmission. You add that up, that's around $13,000. Now I still owe $18,000 on my hybrid, so now you're looking at $30-something thousand in a Ford Fusion hybrid. That is just ridiculous. I could buy a brand new car for that. Now, after finding out from Advantage Ford that it will cost this much, I thought I need to follow the right procedure here. Let the dealership diagnose, and if it's going to be something ridiculous, then I can call Ford customer service at the corporate level. And I opted to wait to do this because I've owned Fords my whole life. These are some of the cars I've owned. First car, a muscle car, Mercury Cyclone GT, an Escort Probe Explorer, 2009 Fusion, my Ford Fusion Hybrid, and I plan to get a Ford F-150 Super Crew, possibly a Raptor in the future, once all this stuff is resolved. This is an important thing that I think everyone should be aware of here, is owner loyalty. This is Ford's website. If you go to it right now, this is what you'll see. Now, the loyalty only goes one way, and it's from Ford's perspective, they want your loyalty, but they're not going to be loyal back to you. So all these people who keep on buying Fords, yes, we're loyal. We keep on buying them. But the thing is it when their vehicles have a catastrophic failure that they've known about since the late 2000s, 2008, 2009, do they issue a recall or tell the owners or let buyers know about the triangle of death? No, absolutely not. And that's because these cars have been selling like crazy. That's why. If I would have known the triangle of death would cause this kind of problem and cost this much money, I would have just gone ahead and got my Ford F-150 right then and there. But I didn't, and Ford didn't tell me about it. So that's why I'm in the situation that I'm in. Now, with this triangle of death, what could happen, it could be Ford owners, kids, pets in the car, could die in traffic accidents, or other situations like mine where you pull over the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, no help. What if you run out of water, run out of power, you have health issues? People could die from this. So that's why I want Ford owners and people who are going to buy these cars. So the next step I took was I contacted Ford customer service after finding out how much the cost would be, because I don't have $7,000 to $13,000 laying around just in case CVT transmission fails. So I spoke with Michelle and Jill and emailed with Susan about my situation. They all said, the right customer service phrasing. They gave me hope, thinking, you know what? Ford's going to help me out. I've been loyal to Ford this whole time, my whole life, and Ford's going to take care of me. But this is kind of the way I feel after everything has happened, where they listened to the problems, got me off, ultimately did nothing. So a week and a half later, they call me, said, nope, sorry, we can't help you. You are SOL, Mr. Derek. Sorry. So I don't have money sitting around, in case the transmission fails. So that's why my car is still sitting in North Carolina this very moment. And I'm renting cars to get to and from work. So if you think you're going to just call Ford Customer Service and they're going to take care of you, you're wrong. And I'm not the only one here. I've added a link here for someone who paid $12,000 with the same problem to get his car fixed. And did the car ultimately work for him? No, he wound up selling it for parts. So does Ford care that you bought a Ford? Absolutely. Yes, they want you to buy a Ford. If you buy a Ford credit, they want you to make that payment. Then they want you to come back and buy another Ford in the future. But please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash Ford here. I'm just trying to make them aware that the triangle of death is a major safety issue that they've ignored, and it's their duty to take care of their owners. Now, owners who aren't aware of this, they might look at the stop safely now and think it's the check engine light, but it's not. Check engine light is usually the bad O2 sensor. That's pretty easy to take care of, whereas the triangle of death will cause you to stop your car in the middle of the highway and could get people killed. That's the difference. That's why I'm trying to bring attention to this issue. So, after 3 months having to deal with all the stress and the upheaval in my professional and personal life because of this, I think it's my duty to make sure Ford owners and prospective owners are aware, because it might cost them a ton of money and cause emotional stress, just like it has for me. Because when I look at it, based on all the costs on top of this, plus what I owe, $18,000, I can buy a brand new car for that. But there's no way I can do that. So where does the situation stand now? The car is still in North Carolina. Advantage Ford has a front end CVT transmission torn apart. They've had it for almost 3 months now, nowhere close to getting fixed. And we had talked about having to put back together and then transport down to Georgia. And of course, when it came down here, it would have to be torn apart again, re-diagnosed, and all the costs associated with that. And you're still in a situation where you can't trade it in. So I'm screwed either way. That's why I'm trying to avoid other people getting screwed. So can it be fixed? I don't know. I'm not a mechanic. But I do know that if they put in a rebuild or replace the CVT transmission, that does not mean that the triangle of death would not reappear, and then I have to do this whole thing all over again, which is ridiculous. So ultimately, what happens to me in my situation, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I'm trying to deal with it. My military services taught me to adapt and overcome, find a solution, and that's what I'm trying to do. But I feel this my duty to let other people know about this. So in closing, I still believe this. Ford is a quintessential American company. I just expected a better product, something that wouldn't stop on the highway. And especially since, based on their mottos, we own work. Quality is job one. I really buy into those, and now their motto is highest owner loyalty. Well, I've been loyal. Where's the loyalty coming back to me from Ford? And like I said, I'm not trying to bash them at all, because I'll tell you what, one day I'm going to own that Ford F-150 Super Crew, regardless of my experience with Ford in this situation, because that's how much I like their vehicles. I've added in here that I've already gone down the road with Ford customer service, but if they're still interested in helping out an old veteran like me, then I've added my case number here. And this is the same case that they closed after just 3 weeks, because they had no programs that would help loyal Ford owners. And we've kind of been in limbo ever since then. So I'd like to thank you for watching and listening, and I want to make sure that you remember and celebrate those sacrificed for our country, this constitutional republic, and its people. Thank you.